Yeah, it was my 50th birthday on September 1st. And so we had dinner with a bunch of friends, and Daniel Miller from Mute Records came, and I reminded him, I actually had thought of it just as I was like getting ready to come out for the dinner. I was like, wow, I came here 31 years ago with Daniel Miller. That was actually who took me to Berlin the first time. So it was a kind of like, it's like weird remembrance of spending 3 decades in a city that is as important as this. Is kind of awe-inspiring, really. No, I've got someone just gave me the DVD, and of course none of my computers have any players, so I've got to wait till I get back to LA to be able to watch it. But yeah, Malaria, man, incredible. Yeah, that's what I hear. So Gideon Ruffalo, who used to work here at Berghain and then has his own thing going on now, but that's who gave it to me. But yeah, he was born basically in East Berlin, basically. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Cheers. Or Prost, as we should be. Yeah. But yeah, one of the a seminal gig, something that actually literally changed my life, was seeing the birthday party with Einstürzende Neubauten and Malaria opening for them. So the lineup was Malaria, Einstürzende Neubauten, and the birthday party. And literally, I came out of that gig as a completely different person. Like, it completely changed everything I thought about rock and roll music, being a performer, how to perform, stage presence. Like, it's something that I've literally never forgotten. Like, it's a part of the core of everything I did with Bon Harris, with Nitzer, everything I do with Terence, and I do another project in LA now called Black Line, which actually again is with Bon Harris, but it's also with a LA-based synth nerd who's actually here tonight, called Cyrus Rex. But he did a lot of stuff with Skinny Puppy and with Aaron Funk. So yeah, it's traveled with me. That gig was really like a mind-blowing event. Yeah, if I could only get the royalties. No, Terence and I, Terence is a huge fan of Nitzer. That's how we got together. He'd done a remix, Let Your Body Learn, yeah. And so at that point I wasn't even doing music. I'd quit to do film, which you'll understand why I went back to music. But yeah, Terence contacted me through Mute to see if I wanted to sing a couple of tracks on his album that he was putting together. I think it was his second album. And instead of doing that, we went in the studio for, I think it was only a day, and came up with like 10 tracks. And we were like, kind of looked at each other and like, well, guess we're a band then. And then Fixmer McCarthy came out of that. But he knows, in many ways, and it sounds like an asshole thing to say, but in many ways, I forget a lot of the stuff that's happened. And so one of the songs we're doing tonight is the opening track that we're doing tonight, called Get Clean. It was a B-side on the original Let Your Body Learn from 85, 86, whatever it was. And it's one of Terence's favorite tracks, so he kind of sprang it on me a couple of weeks ago. He's like, yeah, let's do Get Clean. I'm like, I haven't even heard it in 30 years, let alone sing it. It's like, but fortunately there was a lot of repeating, shouting and pointing, so it fit right into the rest of the set. Totally, yeah. Terence and I always laugh. In fact, we were laughing about it today as we were both trying to get off the stage and clambering down and feeling like old men, that when we first started doing Fix McCarthy, it seemed like a resurgence or like a reinvention of a version of what Nitzer and Front and early versions of Puppy and that whole industrial thing of more of an American vibe of things, which we never we never went the full extent with all the guitars and the rock thing. So we stuck to basically an electronic version of everything, of industrial. And when Terence and I started working, together, it was like a resurgence of that people were hungry for then. But within the scene, within a small group of the people, the aficionados. What has happened subsequently is that version of doing hard electronic music with vocals full of energy is again in its ascendancy. The one thing that you can guarantee is that music is cyclical. Things that were important, that became unimportant, become important again. And the old gripe of a lot of musicians is someone else is getting paid for the idea I came up with or something I did. I feel the opposite to that. I'm really happy that people are doing something and taking everything a step forward. I love it. I've always loved it. I've been coming to Berghain for, it's got to be since, when Terence and I got together, so it was 2004, so it's 12 years of coming here. And it's been, it was just as awe-inspiring the first time as the last time, which was last Friday I came here. Every time it's a special environment, it's a special event every time. And the curatorial element of what they do, what Jens does, what the whole setup of how it's completely curatorial. And so it's fucking difficult to get in. It's hard to guest lists don't exist. Even if you are on a guest list, it's not really real. No one's going to let you in just because you're there and you say you want to get a guest list. And that on one level, people are wow, it's really, everyone's got such a bad attitude. And it's no, they haven't. They just know how to make a club really work. And it's testimony. This huge building is full every week. And there's no accident. It's a very, very thought out process. Yeah, it was. It was Terence's little joke, I think. It's oh, Frank, God bless him. God damn it, I'd forgotten about that. Dan was just here, like I said. I think Dan's living here at the moment, but he's always in and out. But he's always in and out of this place. Paul Kendall, people like this, the Mute family that was 422 Harrow Road, that. When we first signed to Mute, they were on Golden Square, which is they had this tiny little office, and then they expanded onto the Harrow Road and into this horrible 80s building, but it worked, and that's where they built the studio on top. And there was so much stuff that actually happened from that point on. And there's a very good friend of mine, David Phillips, who essentially set up the Mean Fiddler in London to expand into what it became. And then he reinvented Reading Festival to make Reading Festival an actual cool festival rather than a old rockers shithole. He was doing a documentary about 429 Harrow Road, which is the old Mute address, with one of the old guys from Fat Gadget. You should talk to him. You should definitely interview David. There's a whole other story about Fat Gadget, Frank Tovey, what happened to the band after he became Frank Tovey rather than Fat Gadget. The band became the drivers for Mute Records because Dan felt bad that they didn't have work as a band anymore, so they were the Mute drivers. Then they formed a band called the Mute Drivers. It's such a beautiful story, but it has a tragic ending that I will let David Phillips tell you.